Who was the man that put the entire world in our pockets? What drove him to revolutionize not just one industry, but 6? This is the story of Steve Jobs, the adopted child, the college dropout, the visionary, the tyrant, the genius.
And so different people make different choices. And if the market tells us we're making the wrong choices, we listen to the market. We're just people running this company. We're trying to make great products for people.
He was born on February 24, 1955 in San Francisco, California. Adopted at birth by Paul and Clara Jobs, Steve grew up in the burgeoning tech hub of Silicon Valley. From an early age, Steve showed an intense curiosity about how things worked. It was during these formative years that Steve Jobs met Steve Wozniak, a brilliant young engineer 5 years his senior. Their shared love for electronics and mischief would form the foundation of a friendship that would change the world.
I strapped onto a drafting table and I built this whole board myself because I wanted the chips in the ultimate perfect position.
In 1972, Steve arrived at Reed College in Portland, Oregon, but his time there would be brief and unconventional. After just one semester, he dropped out, but didn't leave campus.
I dropped out of Reed College. After 6 months, I couldn't see the value in it. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and no idea how college was going to help me figure it out. It was pretty scary at the time, but looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made.
He stumbled into a calligraphy course, fascinated by the artistry of letter forms. This seemingly impractical course would later inspire the beautiful typography of the first Macintosh computer, revolutionizing desktop publishing. But Jobs' search for meaning wasn't confined to the halls of academia. In 1974, he embarked on a spiritual journey to India. For 7 months, he and his friend Dan Kotke wandered across India.
When we were traveling in India, he was fine. I never had a problem with him. Never.
Jobs returned from India with a shaved head, traditional Indian clothing, and a new perspective on life and consciousness. 1976. In a garage in Cupertino, California, a revolution was brewing. The result was the Apple, but Steve had bigger dreams. He didn't just want to sell to hobbyists. He wanted to change the world. Enter Mike Markkula, a retired Intel millionaire. Jobs' passionate pitch convinced Markkula to invest $250,000 in Apple. With Markkula's funding, Apple launched the Apple II in 1977. It was a runaway success, becoming the first mass-market personal computer. By 1980, Apple had gone public.
On December 12, 1980, Apple went public. Its 4.6 million shares of stock opened at $22 and sold out in minutes. When the stock market closed that day, the company was worth $1.7 billion.
Apple had gone from a garage startup to a billion-dollar company in just 8 years. But for Steve Jobs, this was only the beginning. 1985. After a power struggle with the board, Steve Jobs found himself ousted from the company he co-founded. But Steve Jobs wasn't one to give up. Within months, he had a new vision. This was the birth of Next Computer. Next aimed to create high-end computers for education and business markets. While it never achieved mass-market success, it pushed the boundaries of what computers could do. In 1986, he made an investment that would change the world of animation forever. Jobs bought the computer graphics division of Lucasfilm for $5 million, renaming it Pixar. After years of creating groundbreaking short films and commercials, Pixar partnered with Disney to create its first feature-length film, Toy Story. Released in 1995, Toy Story was a critical and commercial smash hit, grossing over $350 million worldwide. While Next and Pixar took different paths, both reflected Jobs' commitment to merging technology with art and his knack for seeing around corners. But as the 1990s wore on, Apple was struggling without its visionary co-founder. The stage was set for one of the greatest comebacks in business history. Apple Computer was in crisis. The company that had revolutionized personal computing was now on the brink of bankruptcy. In a desperate move, Apple acquired Next for $429 million, bringing Steve Jobs back as an advisor. Within months, Jobs had ousted the existing CEO and taken control. Jobs' first move was to launch the Think Different campaign, reminding the world what Apple stood for. But a marketing campaign wasn't enough. Apple needed a revolutionary product.
Is iMac.
The iMac, with its translucent, colorful design, was unlike any computer before it. It was a hit, saving Apple from the brink. But Jobs wasn't satisfied with just selling through other stores. He wanted to control the entire customer experience. Despite skepticism from retail experts, Jobs pushed forward with the Apple Store concept. The first Apple Store opened in May 2001 in Tysons Corner, Virginia. It was an instant success. The Apple stores became more than just retail outlets. They were embassies for the Apple brand, showcasing the company's commitment to design, simplicity, and customer service. In just 4 years, Jobs had turned Apple around. The company was profitable again. Its brand was resurgent, but Steve Jobs was just getting started.
Because we started this all with 1,000 songs in your pocket, right? With the original iPod.
But Jobs knew that hardware was only part of the equation. In 2003, Apple launched the iTunes Store, offering legal digital downloads for 99 cents a song. The music industry would never be the same. On January 9, 2007, Jobs introduced the iPhone. It wasn't just a new product. It was a new category of device that would change everything.
Apple is going to reinvent the phone. An iPod.
As Apple reached new heights of success, Steve Jobs was facing his greatest challenge yet. Behind the public persona of the tech visionary was a private man, a husband, a father, and ultimately a patient facing a devastating diagnosis. In 1991, Steve Jobs married Laureen Powell. Together, they raised 3 children, while Jobs also maintained a relationship with his firstborn daughter, Lisa. But in 2003, Jobs received news that would change everything. He was diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer. Steve was always one to challenge conventional wisdom, but this was different. We were all scared. Jobs underwent a liver transplant in 2009, returning to work later that year. But his health struggles were far from over.
I'm very happy to be here today with you all. 5 months ago, I had a liver transplant.
Despite his illness, Jobs continued to work on Apple's next big innovations. He also spent more time with his family, knowing his time might be limited. In August 2011, Jobs stepped down as CEO of Apple. On October 5, 2011, surrounded by his family, Steve Jobs passed away. Steve Jobs' story isn't over. It lives on in every tap of a touchscreen, every swipe of a tablet, in the phones in our pockets and the music in our ears. It lives on in all of us who dare to think different. Steve Jobs may have left us, but his vision continues to shape our world in profound ways. Under Tim Cook's leadership, who wants Tim Cook research documentary? Comment down, and if you love the video, please hit subscribe, like, and share with your friends.